Google is an internet search company which offers online advertising technologies, cloud computing, and software.
You know, Google has become synonymous with the internet, which is pretty damn fantastic, because when people say you're going to Google something, it really means what it is. You start everything you do online with a visit to Google. And in addition, of course, they own properties like YouTube, like Gmail, which has become the default. The core business, though, as you say, though, is the internet advertising business.
Market cap $542.5 billion, a PE of 30.2, and it pays no dividends. Gary, the level of enthusiasm that you have towards this one. A big smile starts it off.
Yeah, how can you not be enthusiastic about a company that has transitioned from a company into a verb? I mean, to be able to Google, I mean, I think it's fantastic. But
the ultimate brand.
Yeah, but looking at it, I mean, these sort of mega companies like this, so if you look at the Googles, the Facebooks, the Apples, you almost have to look at it at the R&D spend. That's where we really get a lot of insight, because remember, they're spending an enormous amount of money. Google has moved now from the 9th biggest company that spends the most on research and development to the 5th. So, I mean, this is absolutely enormous amounts of money going into future projects, which we think gives it one, sustainability, but also the ability to improve the bottom line. Because if you just tone down a little bit of your capital allocation towards what you're researching, I mean, that drops straight to the bottom line, and you see the earnings improving. And I think, overall, that with a company with that kind of defensiveness, there's only good things ahead of it.
Talk to us about the share price graph there, Paul.
And some people might think we put up the wrong share price, because look at that, it says Alphabet at the top. Well, annoyingly, what Google did about half a year ago, or maybe it's a year ago now, or maybe it's longer, they actually said, look, we're going to change the name of the holding company to be Alphabet, and then the operational things Google. And that's so that some of their new moonshot stuff, like the stuff like driverless cars and longevity research and so on, they will put into the sort of Alphabet holding company. But the share code is still GOOG.
And this is after getting their brand into the dictionary, effectively.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
That doesn't sound
but
logical.
In fact, the market liked the transition, because what had also happened at the time, they got a new CFO, a woman called Ruth Porat, who'd been at Morgan Stanley, and they said, you know what, we're going to calm down the spending on these other crazy ideas, and we're really going to display accurately how much we're spending on all of these different projects. And that financial discipline on Larry Page, the CEO, and his mate, the founder, Sergey Brin, has been seen very positively by the market.
You own this one in your international portfolios?
Absolutely. It's had a fantastic, tremendous run even prior to that split and transition. But it continues to power higher. Remember, it's almost the world's most valuable company, because it keeps catching up with Apple. It's had a couple of moments where it's briefly been caught up and actually overtaken Apple recently.
Gary, are you also steeped in Google?
I think you have to own it in an offshore portfolio. It's one of these companies you think are going to grow from strength to strength. I mean, especially these moonshot businesses. I mean, Alphabet. Actually, the name comes from Alphabet. It's a bet on alpha. I think that's what you've got to do in a technology company. And I mean, like I said, Calico, driverless cars, all these extra things. I mean, I think are going to do fantastically well when they pay off. So yeah, I think you absolutely have to have it.
So moonshot is the new term for blue sky.
Yeah.
Well, moonshot, it's the whole division, and it's now, it used to be Google X, is now X. It's all run by a guy called Astro Teller, and it's his moonshot. So it reads like science fiction, a lot of the stuff.
But before we get too carried away with those things, the core of the business is basically, if you understand what has happened, people have transitioned from doing any kind of advertising in the physical environment to utilizing Google. So if you're a plumber operating in the Northcliffe area, what you do is you advertise and you bid for the right to be high up on the list of service providers that come up when somebody in that area Googles for that service. It's fantastic. And in the US, all of the auto insurers, all of the companies that sell almost any financial product, literally people that sell cars, people that sell anything are going to be advertising on Google. And then, of course, ads on YouTube, ads on Gmail. I mean, it's enormous. The cash flows, the margins, tremendous.
Hot or not?
Yeah, definitely hot.
Paul?
Yeah, I agree with Gary. I think it's a must-own. I think it's going to go from strength to strength, and in time to come, it's going to double and redouble its profits, and it's doing all of the right things and making all of the right investments to be even bigger in the future.